Welcome to the newest edition of Progress, Not Perfection. It is Sunday, June the 2nd, 2024. Golly, the year is almost halfway done. Can you believe that? Incredible. Well, it's hot here in Central Florida, start of hurricane season. So, fellow Floridians, if you see Jim Cantori from the Stormgasm channel pulling up in your driveway, please remember teeth, bras, fully clothed. That's all I'm saying. Please, come on. The rest of the country laughs at us sometimes here in Florida, but we're all not all that crazy. It helps, and many of us are crazy. But anyway, here we go. I am going to do my version of Bob's High Tide. That's from season 16, episode 8. Kind of excited about this one. Had a request from a local art group that I've had the pleasure of teaching and doing a couple of demos for, to do one here in the summertime that is a beach. And I hadn't painted this one before, so I've painted it in practice several times, gotten to teach it a couple other places as well. So I'm really digging how it's turning out, so I hope you enjoy it as well. It's also the first video I am doing using my new Google Pixel 8. I'm not an Apple guy at all. I was when computers were invented, and they were in the first, or the elementary school that I went to in Virginia, but I haven't liked them since then, so I'm not an Apple guy. And at any rate, we're gonna dive in. Let me tell you what I've got going already. This is pretty small, 12 by 16. I took one of Bob's canvases and painted it black with his black acrylic gesso, let that dry all the way, and I've just put a skinny piece of masking tape straight across here. It'll give us a nice clean horizon line. You can do this with any size canvas you want, anything you're comfortable with. I found several classes that they really like this size of canvas. It's pretty quick to work through. It's not too much of a canvas real estate to cover, and people have great success with it, and that's what this is all about. Have a great time, have some success. We're sneaking up on 4 years since Lori and I took that very first painting class, when I absolutely fell in love with this style of painting and discovered a love for art of any kind. So it's new as a grown-up old fart in my life, and I'm just thrilled to have found it. So let me tell you what I've got laid out on the palette. I like using this wax freezer paper. Actually got this from a restaurant supply store online. Came in like a 1,000-foot roll, and it's really good because it's kind of waxy on one side, so paints don't go through it, and it is way easier to clean up when you're done. Don't overuse paint. You can always add a little more, and then you just throw away the piece of paper when you're done. So that's really good. But I've got titanium white, phthalo blue, midnight black, dark sienna, alizarin crimson, cad yellow, Indian yellow, and a little bright red. Kind of got crazy coming out of the tube. I don't need nearly that much. Really, we just use it to sign it. One thing I get asked quite a bit is, do I have a reference painting that I'm looking at? And I normally don't. I prefer to just roll with whatever happens, especially if it's a painting I've done before. What I do like to keep is just, it's a little bigger than a 3x5 card. What is that? Maybe 4x6? Maybe. Yeah, I guess so. 4x6 index card that I've just taken notes on when I'm watching Bob's episodes on YouTube. And then I don't always use all the same colors he does. I mean, it's my painting. Yes, certainly inspired by something he's done. But, this is going to be mine. I'm not trying to copy his. It was great guidance when I was working on it the first time. I have most of the season books for the Joy of Painting seasons. So I'll certainly look at it for reference. But again, don't try to copy it. I don't. I want it to be mine, kind of put my twist on it. And we're just going to dive in. I'm going to put some transparent colors on, and we're going to do a lot of this with white and just watch this come to life. So I'm just going to use a 1-inch brush. I'm going to dive into some of this Indian yellow. Such a great yellow and transparent. Now you may or may not be able to see much of this going on the canvas, since the canvas is black and the paint I am putting on is a transparent yellow. Might look a little greenish on camera. I don't know. Yellow and black do, yellow and black do make a cool green if you're ever mixing paint and don't have a green with you. Now you can really do this any shape you like. If you've ever been out to the beach in Florida, make it how it looks to you. Maybe it's not a perfect curve of a sunrise or a sunset. Maybe it's maybe the main light is off and shooting away from you. I don't know. Just don't do it all uniform and just go with whatever happens. So just putting a little smooth color on here. Don't need a big thick coating. I just don't want it to dry first. This is one of the few episodes where Bob does not put any kind of liquid paint on the canvas first. So he does not have liquid clear on there. You certainly could if you wanted to. I like not putting the liquid clear on it for this one. While I got that brush working, I'm going to go ahead and put some of this yellow down here in the water, what'll be water. We'll do the ocean below our horizon line there, and I just want it to, it doesn't really matter how far it comes down. You can have that yellow side to side if you want it. I just want the brightest reflection kind of wider out here and walking towards us. So I'm just kind of scrubbing that color in, get most of that color off my brush there. And now let's mix up another color. So I don't want to go straight to blue because I got yellow on my brush. So I'm going to make up a really pretty lavender, purple color, that kind of thing. I'm going to really check the audio on this video. I did a few just testing, and with this darn new phone, I've got a great lapel mic that I've loved for years, but it plugged in the phone jack, or the headset jack of my old phone. No such thing exists on this Google Pixel 8, so it certainly isn't Bluetooth or that fancy. But we'll see how the sound quality is, and I guess I'll have to get a Bluetooth mic because I don't have another way to connect it. There's one USB-C plug on this phone, and I've got that plugged in so it's running, fully charged and on a charger while we're recording. I know tech has not ever been my thing. I sort of like tech a long time ago, but that was in a galaxy far, far away. And technology has most certainly passed me by. Most certainly. So we're just going to put in kind of a purple band, and I'm sure you cannot see this lavender color. May look a little shiny to you. Maybe you can see the shine of that on the camera. Good. Pick up a little more of that. Oh, let's put some of that down here in our water. Don't need much. Those sides are going to be a little dark. And now let's grab some of that blue. Just going to grab a little phthalo blue. Don't need much. Sneak up on it. It's easy to add a little more. And we'll just put that darkest blue up there at the top. I really like doing this the times I've taught it to a couple classes now, because it's one of the few that I really have students use paint thinner to clean their brushes during class. And oh boy, that was an adventure the first time, and I certainly learned some things I will not ask them to do again, but not too many disastrous spills or anything, so that was good. Put that blue up in the high in the sky, and then let's put some down here in the water as well. It's okay with me if this hits that yellow there and we get a little, wind up getting a little emeraldish green, because that looks really kind of cool as we get a wave in there later, and that's totally good with me. I'm going to put some dark sienna, just a little bit. Don't need much at all, the dark sienna. That'll just help us make a real sandy, beachy feel down at the very, very front edge of our canvas here when we get down here in a few minutes. Don't need much of this. That dark sienna will look beautiful and like wet sand. We get some titanium white on there a little later, and that'll be great. Now, oftentimes, if you've seen some of my other videos, I'm just going to take a paper towel and give this a squeeze, wiping out excess paint, just so that's ready to go. I do have a setup. One of these times I got to get this a little more mobile so I can turn this real good. Oh, maybe you can see it over there. This little thing right over there, that's the lid to my paint thinner bucket. So I do have one of Bob's paint thinner buckets and the little wire rack in there I can scrub the brush against, and I've got a little homemade version of a brush beater rack in a big old tall trash can down here. Let's see if, yeah, you can see that. And then I just put a couple pieces of wood, put a screw through each side, just so, or I guess 2 screws through each side, so I can just beat the devil out of the brush right in there. I threw an old rag down at the bottom of that just to absorb a lot of the liquid overspray. I'm gonna take a clean, actually we don't need to really blend that. We'll blend that once we put some color on it. So let's get going here. Let's take a clean 1-inch brush and just go into some of this titanium white. Again, let's start with a little bit and we'll work our way out. We can always clean the brush and add more or grab a new one. For brushes, I'm only going to have 1-inch brush, a small fan brush, a small knife, and a script liner brush today. And I like to have 3 1-inch brushes and 3 little fan brushes, just so I don't have to be cleaning them all the time. So this first pass, I've just got a little bit of liquid or titanium white loaded on the brush. Not an insane amount by any means, just tapped it evenly in there. I'm gonna come about, not dead center of the horizon line, but just maybe just left of center today. And I'm just gonna do kind of some swinging, not harsh X strokes, but just kind of having a little swoop in my hand. I don't want to over exaggerate that too much, but let some streaks happen. I like to use a little lighter pressure as I start getting away from here in my lightest source in the middle. And let's just work our way out off the canvas. Go swinging right off the edge there. Don't be shy just because you're running out of canvas. The sky certainly wouldn't run out. So let's take a clean 1-inch brush. Let's just soften this and blend it, and then we will decide if we want to add any more titanium white. That's looking awfully good and bright to me on this first pass, which is not always the case. Very easy to add a little more paint. Do it with a clean brush though. I don't like how hard I doinked that side over there, so we may work on that a little later, drop some cloud edge over it or something. Just work with whatever happens. No mistake. Yeah, that's working pretty good. We'll creep up towards where we put that lavender color, but I'm going to add some more white and then get into that lavender. I just don't want to pollute this brush all the way. So let's take one of our paper towels. I'll normally hold one here on my palette so I can just bump that paintbrush against it. And let's grab a little more white. Way less white this time around. I'm gonna use way less because as we're getting away from the light source, there wouldn't be as much. Now these are much narrower, so I like to turn the brush sideways this way. So instead of having it vertically like this, I'm just gonna have it sideways, very light pressure. I don't want a big bright patch. We've only got 1 star around, our planet floats around, so I don't want it to make it look like there's 2 suns in the sky or setting in our sky or anything like that. So we'll just don't quite hit that blue hardcore just yet. You know what? I think that's a pretty color. So let's grab a little more white. Just do a little more of that. Let's just get a little more white in there so a little bit more of this lavender color shows up. As we soften it, that white will just help that color pop right off the canvas for us. There we go. We're going to come back and blend this, so I'm sure that still looks streaky there, and you can certainly see where the lavender and the yellow have a little space between them or come together. We're going to soften that with a clean brush here in just a minute. Pick up a little bit more white, and now let's show off some of that beautiful blue. try to alter the pressure in my hand just because I don't want it to be one flat old dead color. I want it to have some interest, some kind of swooshy distant clouds or mist rising or whatever might be happening. Step back, take a look. I'm digging where we're going with this. So let's take the cleanest of my 3 1-inch brushes. Just knocking off the little bit of yellow we had there from blending it. So let's blend one more time, super gentle, super gentle. Start with your brush as clean as it can be back in the middle brightest part of your sky so you don't pollute it. Work away from it. I consciously think, do not repeat the same pattern I've already gone in. And now I'm just going to soften the edge of this where the lavender and yellow come together. Just so we just sort of fades them together. Do this gently, gently, gently. You can certainly do this more than once. Nothing wrong with more than one blending pass. Stop and just bump out that paint that you're picking up. Super gentle. Same kind of gentle between the lavender and the blue, because boy, that blue is strong. It can just gobble it up. Gentle, gentle. Gentle is the key to blending. Oh, and I'm telling you, it is such a fun feeling when you see the blending happening at the end of your bristles. And it's working the way you want it to. So step back again. It's still, I'm feeling okay with the difference here between yellow fading to purple, fading to blue, because we're going to do some really awesome clouds. And we're just going to make a dark lavender first, then we're going to do some bright clouds down here in our yellow area, and this is going to be great. This is going to be great fun. All right. I do have some tape on my fairings of my fan brushes, just trying to not blind you with any glare, because I've got some really bright LED kind of shop lights here hanging. I've got 4 in here in the studio, the home studio, and they're bright. So I've noticed some flashes when we do it time to time. So just to mix up some more lavender color, let's just grab some more alizarin crimson, this time on the little fan brush. I like to grab that crimson first. So we can just grab a little bit of that blue. We'll get a great lavender. Make sure you mix that blue in well, because as we get down into putting a little bit of this on our yellow area, if we don't have that blue covered up good and that mixed into a lavender with the crimson, then we are gonna have green clouds. Now your sky may have green clouds, that's cool, if that's what you're looking for. I'm not telling you not to do it, I just want you to know what's gonna happen. So when it does, you can just work with it. So we're gonna have kind of a swinging stroke. Play with this a few different ways. And just like so often I've said it, just be gentle. See what happens. Do we like our dark color for some distant clouds up here in the sky? Yeah, I'm digging that. I like to kind of try to vary the size, and I'll point to that in just a second. So a little thinner here, a little beefier here, just so it feels like they're starting back there and then getting closer to us as they get a little bigger. I don't really stress over stuff like that or worry very much about it at all, really. It's just a general idea, and then go for it. Get your head out of the way. Just let it fall off your brush. And if you really doink it and mess it up, all right, just paint something over it. Paint a tree over it. Put another cloud over it. Scrape it off with a knife. Doesn't really matter. Don't stress over it. Just have a thought in your heart and your head and go for it. Maybe down here, they're the thinnest. And they're just walking way back here like this. I don't know. Just think like a cloud, man. Clouds are so free. They just go wherever they want to go. Whatever they want to do. While we're doing these clouds, some of my tape's jumping off of there. Man, I ordered a whole case of masking tape off of Amazon, and it's such poor quality stickiness. And it was not the name brand you might recognize as a popular painter's tape, or, you know, like you get from a hardware store. It was some cheap version. It is the only item I have ever returned to Amazon, with the exception of clothes that didn't fit, or shoes, you know, stuff that just you can't use. It's still brand new with the tags on it, and somebody else can certainly use it. But I mean, it's terrible. I was so pleased that return was so easy. So now let's just put a few highlights on those clouds before we soften them back and blend them out. I'm just going to take some titanium white, and I'm going to grab just a whisper of some, alizarin crimson, just to knock the starkness off of the white. Careful with that crimson, boy. It is stout, and you will get a powerful pink. Start light, doesn't take much. Think about where there might be a few little highlights kissing here and there. Our light source is down closest to the horizon. Then maybe on these, it's going to be the little bottom edge. And as it gets out here, just less and less. I know that's stark right now. Give me a minute. I'm gonna soften that for us a bit. I like to see how far I can take a load of highlight like this, because as I get away from the light source, I'm running out of paint. I'm picking up the color from underneath that we're just trying to highlight a little bit. And that's exactly what happens outside. So don't have to overthink that. It just sort of happens for me. And I like stuff like that. Just have to give it the idea. Don't overthink it. Don't overwork it. This is just a little kiss of a highlight here and there. Now let's take our cleanest 1-inch brush and ever so gently, 3 hairs and some air, maybe 2 hairs and some air, just soften those. Just give them a little, same direction we put them in. So mostly horizontal with a little swing in my, I'll exaggerate it here, kind of like that. Soften some of the starkness of that bright white. Sets those clouds down in the sky. Just kind of helps them drift off to be a supporting character in our masterpiece, but it is not the main focus of the show anymore. Let's take a step back. Let me see how it's looking through the old camera viewfinder. Yeah, I think that you can see the idea there. Oh, I'm having fun, so I'm hoping it's making sense as we go here. Now, we really can use that same fan brush. Fan brushes are way easy to clean, I realize, but I'm just trying to show you don't have to go crazy cleaning your brushes all the time. And so now, I'm going to put some big fluffy clouds down here at the horizon. So I'm using my fan brush that I did the crimson and white to put the highlights on. So we're just going to take some more of this white mound. You may have caught that when I was showing you the colors. I put 3 separate little squeezes of white out here, just so I didn't have to go super careful and worry about polluting all of my white at the same time. So we're just going to use some titanium white. We'll add a tiny little bit of cadmium yellow, so it'll be different than our Indian yellow that is on our canvas already. And we're just going to add in a little tiny bit. I just want it to knock it towards the orange or peachy side of yellow, so it's not a stark yellow. There it went. Did you see that? And it's fine if it's got some streaks in it, because we're just going to spin these in with a couple little cool spinny circles. So I like to lead in with the corner and just kind of touch and keep going. Now I'm thinking like a cloud. How's a cloud think? Oh, clouds are free. About the freest thing in nature. I love Bob's expression of that. It makes so much sense, because it's just so true. Take your lunch outside sometime and just sit in a place where the grass feels good between your toes, and maybe there's a soft breeze. Maybe there's that special somebody there with you. Oh, and just lay there and watch the clouds. Oh, they don't stay the same, but for a few seconds, and they just go free and floating on to wherever they're headed to next. So I'm varying the pressure in my hand here, spinning these little circles. My brush is not staying in contact with the canvas the whole time. It's really whooping around pretty good. So if I don't know how well you can see that, but I hope you can see that there's lots of difference of thicknesses of paint that just got deposited. I didn't even have to reload because I was going so gentle. Different size circles. I went in a different pattern. I just kind of wanted to be brightest here, so I started there, and then I built away. So I'm gonna go from that same colored brush, that same, dirty brush. Let's let it pick up a little bit more of that crimson that we had there. So I definitely want the color to change because we're going to do one coming this way. So let's just barely touch. Oh, just barely touch. I mean, like a pinhead worth of adding a little more crimson. I don't want it to go radically different. These clouds are basically neighbors, so they would certainly be related. But let's just sort of build one going the other way. Maybe there's just a break in the clouds as the sun's rising or setting and burning off. Or clouds are kind of calming down as the atmosphere does if this is nighttime. I don't know. I didn't get far enough in my thoughts to know if I'm doing, feels a little more sunrisey to me. That's more likely that this time of year I'd be out at the beach witnessing a beautiful sunrise versus actually out late enough to see the sun disappearing after my bedtime around 9 o'clock, I'd say. So that's just kind of funny. There we go. Let's just maybe there's a little thunderhead cooking out here. I don't know. There we go. That's enough of that. Let's take that cleanest 1-inch brush again. Just with the top corner of our brush, just the top corner. Almost just going to let this wobble. I'm not even making complete circles. I just want it to diffuse and soften the bottom edges. I really want to leave the tops of some of these, certainly the top edge, but even in here inside the cloud, because I want it to really feel like it's billowing and, really got some action going. So I'm varying the pressure in my hand. I'm only touching it with a few hairs at the top corner of my brush. I don't know if that comes through real well on this camera yet. I'll have to wait till the rewatch as it's uploading to the place we store it, and then Aiden my tech guy's awesome. He'll get it uploaded to YouTube for us so everybody can see it. So just give it a super light fluff. I'm barely touching the canvas on that, and then just barely. Just any stringy parts you pull down or just want to set it back there in the sky. Oh, I like what just happened there. There you go. And if you get any places that you step back and look and just need to blend a whisper more, I just don't want any sharp edges on these clouds. Too far away, too soft. There we go. And I don't paint over details. These are going to be too far away, not the main attraction. Our big wave, our palm trees, our water near the shore, those are going to be the magic. Oh, you know what I had a student in class do on this painting? What day was that? Wednesday, this past week? She put a few little birds in right at the end. Oh, it was brilliant. I'm going to borrow her idea. I told her I would give her credit the first time or two. And I've done that, so now it's going to be my idea. See how that works? Cool, let's put a few highlights on those and we will keep right on rolling. So I don't have a polluted enough brush to really worry about here, so I'm just going to knock off most of the chunks. Give it a squeeze if you need to. Pick up just a little titanium white. Yeah, we'll just put some mostly straight titanium white on our brush here, and just here and there, play with how you do this. You may just be able to touch in a few of these. I don't like to do it where I'm spinning highlights very much. You've got to have a gentle touch or you're really going to kind of gobble up all those things you just worked so hard underneath. But these will just help kind of set your cloud pieces apart. You wanted to have some depth and layers in your cloud. Don't do too much as it gets out here. Not too much. Certainly try not to repeat the same shape. Knock off any extra paint you picked up. We'll just put a few on some edges here. Not much over here. Not much. Maybe there's just some light zinging through a few of these thinner parts of this cloud. Oh, you could see anything out at the beach like this. Blend these clouds one more time and we are into Waveville. Sometimes you can just touch, take a few swings to see how gentle you can do this. Just how gentle can you do that? So gentle, so gentle. Just a highlight. It's not meant to be a whole nother new cloud bank. So you just want to I want to just draw them together, make them play nice, and it's just where the light's kissing that part just a little more. Just gives us a little zing, a little oomph, a little All right, I'm digging that. Let's take a quick hydration break. Thank you to my buddy Tom Arvid. Gave me some swag with his cool logos on it. Got his calendar over there on the wall. You want to talk about some incredible oil painted realism, look like super high quality photographs, but you can tell there's something different about them. Some of the pieces he does are, Drymundus. Tom Arvid, A-R-V-I-D, Tom Arvid. Check him out on Facebook or his gallery. Oh, he's a cool dude. Met him at the Daytona Art Festival, one Daytona Art Festival. All right, let me double check my notes, make sure I don't skip anything, but we're ready to pull off tape. So tape has been pulled off. You know what? I should have cleaned the brush a while ago, but I didn't, so I'm grabbing a fourth clean 1-inch brush because I don't want to have any white on it yet when I do this. I'm just going to take some yellow, not much, and just get us joined up on the horizon here. So we're just filling in the part that was under the tape. I just like to get up and kind of wiggle up to it. Wiggle up to it. If you just barely kiss a few bristles into it, it's not too bad. So don't worry about doinking it or wrecking your clouds or anything like that. It'll just soften and fade out to almost nothing up there by the horizon. You know, I've heard Bob say so many times on his show that, oh, when you're at home, you can just take your time. I didn't start painting that way. I like to hit it and be done with it. With a painting, you know, if I'm not doing a video, half hour, 45 minutes, I want to be done. I think I've got a short attention span. Gracious sakes, I'm at 33 minutes already. If you're still with me, I appreciate you still being here. And hang with me. We're going to keep rocking and rolling and having some fun. So I am going to take just a second, clean these fan brushes real quick so they can be dried. Fan brushes are so easy to clean. Just rub them against that wire rack in there. I like to give them a squeeze with a paper towel. Whoops, there goes the tape on that. Well, I hope I don't blind you with reflection off the fairing on that. Yeah, that tape, you even let it smell paint thinner and it's done. It's like, nope, I'm out. All right, so we're gonna put in the top of our main waves. I just have a clean fan brush going into one of those clean piles of titanium white. Don't need a lot of paint. Just want an even, smooth load at it all the way around both sides. Corner to corner there, both sides of both bristles. So I don't need a ton. So I kind of envision our main wave being kind of coming this way and crashing over and riding out that way. So let's just do it. We'll just have it kind of coming in at a little bit of an angle. I would have a little undulation, and maybe it's going to kind of go up and it'll be crashing this way. And then it's going to just kind of off that way. So crashing this way is what I'm talking about. We'll have it crash over that way. So that works. Let's take a little paper towel so we're ready to just knock off extra paint as we go. I'm going to pick up some more titanium white, and we're going to start with our waves all the way out at the horizon. We'll come in and clean this up here in a minute. Just wanted to have a good idea of where we were going with that. Under what's the brightest part of the sky, and this will be kind of a scallop stroke. I'm going to exaggerate it here, so it's going to have some curve in it. I always think of an old fair ride, kind of, that just has a little curve to it as far as just a visual in my head. Just do it gently. See how the paint's coming off your brush. Start wherever the brightest part of your sky is, so you get the most paint to come off there. That's where you probably have the most and brightest reflection. And as you're running out of paint or getting less paint on your brush, come out to the sides. It'll automatically get softer, 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 softer. Leave all these variations. Oh, you'll be so happy that you did. Leave some of those dark areas. That really is the danger in doing the highlight times. Oh, it gets to feeling good, and you just kind of race along and wind up gobbling up all your dark areas, and your highlights just disappear on you, and that's no good. And it is totally fine that you leave a somewhat definitive horizon out there. I don't like to be perfectly straight, at least on the water side, but I don't mind that at all. I have spent enough time at the beach that you can see that sometimes. You can see that as far as you can see is that horizon out there. So that's really cool. So now I left some space here at the back of my wave on purpose because we need to kind of set this down in there. So this time I'm going to grab that top edge of the wave and pull it back towards our incoming waves there. So here's what I mean by that. I'm going to start kind of in the middle here. Just going to grab and pull it back. And I'm giving it a pretty definite curve because this is really setting and defining the shape of our wave here. Leave yourself some dark at the top of it. You don't want them to mush together. I don't want this to be a hugely violent, rough-looking, crashy wave here, so I'm going to be cautious. I'm not giving it too much of a curve, but I'm just pulling back. I'm not sawing back and forth. I'm only grabbing that white and going backwards. So as I want the wave to kind of lay down some, then there's much less curve to that stroke. I hope some of that's visible, and I hope that makes sense to you. If that's totally confusing, feel free to shoot me a message, and I will try to translate that into some other English words and not butcher it too bad. So I'm just going to wipe out my brush, and let's soften some of this. I just don't want that to be so streaky and bright in some places. But remember how we put the colors on at the beginning? See how, I don't know if you can see it starting to change color there a little bit, but it automatically picked up some of that yellow and really looks like the sun reflecting on it. Guess I didn't do that much, did I? Just put the color on, put the white over it, and these black canvases are just wonderful. Just wonderful. All right, so let's put in kind of our spillover part of our wave there. So we're going to make sure we've got a dry brush. I'm switching over to a clean one, and I'm going to take, I really like to have a whisper of blue in the crashing over part of the wave, where you can see the water. We'll have it curved this way. But I'm going to be careful because it's still got a lot of yellow there. So any blue I put there is going to turn green, and that's okay. But I'm going to start with just some white, and I'm going to move some right over here just so I've got it on a clean part of my palette. So when I touch a little bit of blue, it just knocks some of the sharpness off, and we'll be good to go with that. I don't want it much bluer than that. I'm going to start out here where the first curly part of my wave is, and I'm just going to go across and then move over, move over, move over, move over. I don't want a huge monster crazy crash wave on this one. I just want it to be a little bit subtle, a little bit subdued. So now we're going to do kind of the shadowy part of where our crashers and splashers will be, because we'll have a little bit of that on this one. So we're going to take some of that lavender we made. We're just doing the shadow first. I don't want to scare you. Picking up a little bit of white because I don't want it to be as dark. We want it to be a little bit lighter than, say, our dark, dark clouds up in the sky, but we still want it to be dark. See, the beauty is that white is not a transparent color. So now I'm just going to jam the corner of my fan brush in there and just kind of putting in the underside of some splashies that we'll come back and put some white on in just a minute. Don't worry about this. This doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to be all uniform. And we'll do whatever we're going to do as it runs out of juice over here. I do like to have it just higher than the back side of my wave there. So that's all I'm doing. That's all we got to do there. Don't overwork that. Don't overthink yourself there. I'm going to use that fan brush. I just put the spill over with that whisper of blue in it. Picking up just some titanium white. If you got a filbert brush, Bob does waves, top splashy parts of waves quite a bit with a filbert brush. I like to do them that way. I like to do them with the fan brush too. I just use a corner and just push up. Just push up and see what you're getting and then move. Do not overwork this. So that's a good splashy part of the wave there. Use the other corner just so I get fresh white. Be careful you don't get too many of the repetitive shapes. You just want to push up. You know, this will sound crazy to you, but I started getting great splashies. I really like what just happened there. You see how it looks on camera. Can you see that? Well, not if I put my head in the way. I'll have to wait till I can view this on the screen straight up and down or throw it to the TV. But I was watching, oh gosh, I hope you know, look up on YouTube, Painting with Josh. He uses an upstroke like that to do the highlights and darker side of evergreen trees when he's painting wintertime. And oh, what a awesome just learning lesson I picked up from him doing that. So check out his videos. He's an incredible painter in this style, and seems like a pretty cool dude too. I haven't met him personally. So now I'm just going to blend out the bottom of this, just barely wobbling those, even softer than I did up in the clouds. A couple of the hairs of this brush just to soften and fade together the bottom edge of that splashy and the shadow we put in first. That's all you got to do. That's it. That's it. I'll be gentle. I'll be gentle. Don't go straight. Don't try to make it all pretty and all. Look, if you've never seen a wave crashing, look one up on the old internet and you will find seldom are they in super straight lines like that. I'll also come back and probably put in just a bit more splashy here once we've brightened up the eye of our wave. So don't you worry your pretty little head about that. So we got the foamies. Let's do the eye of the wave. So we're going to do titanium white and just a whisper of cad yellow. I've done this eye of the wave in blue. I've tried a shade of green. My favorite has been just making it with titanium white. Don't need tons and tons of paint. I like to move it over here. And just a touch of the cadmium yellow. I got a little crazy with my cad yellow, so I'm going to grab a little more white just to soften that. Just load the brush nicely. Get up here, I'll actually change it and hold the brush under my hand, so instead of holding it like a pencil, I've got it kind of pushed underneath just so I can get my hand a little closer. I can really get that corner jammed in the canvas and just put in some paint with really little circular strokes. And then I'm just thinking about the shape of my eye of the wave. Now I'm going to start running out of paint on this corner. That's all right. Before you do, if this part's curling for you, you know, if this wave's about to break over, then use some of that light paint. Just put in a few little bits there going that away. That looks pretty cool sometimes. I'm going to flip over, use the other corner of my brush, start up here. I'm going way gentler this time, just so it'll vary the brightness a little bit. We're going to blend it. Don't you worry. If you're worried about missing a blending, you're not going to, I promise. I'm going to get down close to my splashy there. Just kind of close to it. Just close. There we go, because we're going to move the little splashy that way. Let's clean this brush so it's ready for action in just a minute. That was full on clean. Wiped out the excess, went into my paint thinner. Now let's take that clean. Oops. Forgot to clean a 1-inch brush again. Gracious sakes, Dan. I'm gonna have to fire myself for not setting myself up for success. Can you do that? I don't know. Always good fun to beat the devil out of a brush though, isn't it? Let me just pat those on a paper towel real quick so they'll be ready to serve here in just a minute. If they're called upon again. They may not be. It's okay. And I'm just going to use that same paint thinner spot I just made because I really don't want any paint thinner on this brush. I just want it cleaner. Shoo-wee. I go through some paper towels. You know, I ordered paper towels for the first time off of Amazon, and they were, the best deal I could find was on Bounty, and they tear down to these little square sizes. I don't like them at all. It's too thin. It's like 1-ply toilet paper. It just ain't gonna do the job, you know what I'm saying? I like, I actually like the Sam's brand Members Mark paper towel. They kind of come in an orange plastic wrap, but they come in a good quantity too. So top corner of a 1-inch brush, start in the brightest area and just barely work loosely, some wobbles and circle action, and work your way out. All you want to do is soften any brush strokes, give it some variation here and there. Oh, and be just gentle. See how gentle you can be. I like to get down here and just sort of soften this edge. You saw I didn't go back to the light, the white area, the brightest area, the eye of my wave. I won't do that until I've at least knocked the paint out of this brush against a paper towel. So we pull dark color right back there, and I'll actually use the other corner of the brush. I just want to soften it again, ever so gently. Ever so gently. You can see some of those are really just more wobbles than they are circles. That I have found has been the most successful, most comfortable for me. And then I just like, it just sort of looks foggy and misty and going this way. We can give our wave a little bit of shape here. Be careful, be super gentle, because you don't need a lot of shape in this one. We're going to do that with our knife in just a minute with some stuff underneath, but I just like to soften some of that if it's too bright. I love how it starts picking up some other color over there. Just sort of softens it. Go with some speed. Don't pain yourself over this. Don't stress over it at all. There, that's pretty good. All right, so I've got my cleaned out fan brush. Just making sure I don't have excess paint thinner there. Let's grab some titanium white. Let's kind of freshen up a few of these here on this corner. We're going to go just over the edge of our the eye we put in, because that'll just help it set back. Don't need a lot of it. Do not need a lot of it. If your wave maybe has a little crashy thing happening from this top edge over, you can do that. That's fine. Give it a little up push here. You don't have any shadow here, so be careful. Don't go crazy, but maybe you got some splashy that's starting to work that way. That's fine. That's fine. You can do that. I may come back and put a little dark edge there just so it kind of sets that off. That's not my favorite thing to do on a wave, because I like it when it's a really clean breaking kind of curling wave there, but you can do it. You can do it. You can do whatever you want on yours. Absolutely. I just want to give you a couple ideas. Turn you loose on the world, as Bob would say. So maybe it's just kind of blowing up. Maybe there's enough wind to do that. Cool. I say we leave it like that and let's move on. We've redefined it a little bit of foamy there. This will be one of your favorite parts of this, I hope. It certainly is mine. We're going to take just some straight white, and certainly under an eye that's getting this much light, there would be some reflection here. It will pick up other colors. That's fantastic. We want that. That's going to just help us do a little less as you're going out to the sides. There you go. Take one of those cleaned off 1-inch brushes. So you can just soften this a bit. We're going to do Bob's regular reflection. This still works on a dark canvas when you've got a color underneath like that. It's not quite the same as when you've got a wet, slick canvas with liquid white, but still, oh, reflection is just magical. Maybe we'll start taking bets on how many pieces of paper towel I use in one day, because man, this was an empty trash can when I started. And go across. Oh, baby. Oh, that's looking watery already. I hope that's coming through on this camera nicely. And we're about to put some other wavy things and actions up here, so those kind of drive you crazy like me. That's all right. And if you're going gently, see, I can do it more than once, and I'm going different ways, so it's got a little bit of wiggle to it, just like the water running off the beach, the sand, waves coming in, water going out. Oh, it's good stuff. So now we're going to jump to the knife. Smush ourselves out a little bit of a runway so we can load it real nice. We're going to get Bob's famous roll of paint out there on the knife. That little roll of paint. And we're just going to start. We're going to, where should we have this first one go? I'm going to hold it horizontal, and I'm going to use pretty good pressure here. And I'm just going to wiggle it back and forth and pull it right in front of our big crashing wave. Just don't go too straight across here. I don't find that looks very good at the end, the finished product. Not too much would be very straight on a beach. So we've pushed in one wave. Let's take one of our cleanest fan brushes. You don't need to add any paint here, and watch this. This is magnificent. Pull back the back edge of this, not all of it, but pull it back towards the wave coming behind it. Pull flatter here where it looks flatter to the beach. And oh, when you start seeing this, I love it every time. It just looks like those little waves retreating back to the next wave about to come into shore. And just be softer, 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 softer as it works away from you. Pick up a little too much paint. That's all right. I just want to soften this a little bit. That's a little bright for me right there. So as you get a feeling for what's happening, you can scrub a little here. You just need to be careful. And I'm not telling you my way is the only way. I'd suggest to you try it an instructor's way first, Bob's, mine, somebody else you like online, combine them, and then start wandering out from there and finding your own way. That's when you really fall in love with it. When it happens in your hand and you can feel it and you've got, a good idea of what's going to happen, and then it does happen, oh baby, you have just enjoyed the magic of this adventure. Oh, I just love it when it's happening like that. Oh, be gentle here. I'm going quick, but I'm going gentle. Oh, I love it how it grabs some color. Boy, doesn't that just look like shine mirror on a gorgeous beach somewhere? Oh, you can even have some of this. Maybe it's come forward in a few places and it's backing up from the wave before. See, once you feel this happen, you won't be afraid to just try something. See if it works for you. If it doesn't, just blend it out. Who cares? We don't make mistakes. We learn something. We find something we like. We find something, ooh, I won't do that again. Then you learned. Keep going. You get a little extra paint on your brush, you can, instead of using the knife, maybe you just want to scrub in a little bit with your fan brush. That works. That works. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. I really want to get down here and show you that dark sienna, how it'll start looking like some great sand for us. So let's kind of cross the line between the blue and where we put some of that dark sienna, just so we can start having some of that show up. Not too much, not too much. Again, these things are working together. Nobody gets to be the star of the show. Well, maybe that wave does. That'd be okay with me. Maybe the trees, little palm trees we'll put in just a second. Oh, I love this part. I love this part. We're gonna have kind of a land peninsula over there, so don't stress over any of this. Now, if you want to take the time to do some cool detail-y things, it's a great time to do it. Either, I'll show you with a script liner brush here in a second, or you can take just a little paint on the corner of your fan brush and just put in some of those kind of foamy things that'll always be happening in a wave like this. And just kind of make sure you stay with the shape of your wave. And it's just going to add another flavor of color. And if you get it a little choppy, this may look a little choppy to you. That's okay. I'm going to show you what I like to do about that in a second. Bob does some glorious things with the script liner brush. I'm just not crazy about doing it that way. I've not found much success trying it that way. And if I'm not having success doing it, guess what? I'm like anybody else. I don't care for that too much. It's just something I know I need to practice. So just clean brush. Stay with the shape of your wave and just barely kiss. Oh, barely touch. Please, barely touch. Barely touch those. And there, you've just given some body and depth to your wave. That's all you had to do. Let's show you how to do that with the script liner brush. So script liner brush, I just dunked it in the paint thinner. Let's take a little bit of, let's do the bluish, the little light, super light blue color. We barely pulled in any blue there. So it just super thin downs that titanium light. Wow, that tape's already bailed off. That tape's crap. You know what? I have one last roll of this. They don't even put their name on it, and that's in the garbage. We will go back to cheaper's not always better, and better is not always cheaper, for sure. So you can take just some thin down paint, and if you want to just put in a few little shiny streakies, just start with a tiny little bit on your brush, have it come to a really good point, and just have kind of a little swing in your hand. See what's coming off your brush. Do you like it? Maybe you don't like these. Maybe you want to practice these a bit. Bob does these at lightning speed, and they look just so beautiful. This is one of those times he'd say, oh, when you've got unlimited time at home, you could put in all these little details. Awesome if you've got time like that and that appeals to you. If you don't have time like that, or it doesn't appeal to you to keep piddling with one, And I'm right there with you. I don't do it either. I have started to enjoy doing a few of these, especially I went to my little yellowish color. It's kind of the color we used in the eye of the wave, just so it's not stark white or have any blue in it. Just come out and put a few, start close to the horizon, and then work towards you a little bit. And that same just barely scallop stroke, let it take you 2 or 3 times to swing by it and actually touch the canvas. And don't overdo this. Just do it a few places, and it just adds a layer. Another variation in color. Maybe you get a few creeping towards this wave down the back here where it's just picking up a little extra light. Maybe. That's cool. Let me clean up with some paint thinner. Let me get some of our darker lavender color. The part where it didn't have any of the titanium white, remember when we did the shadow part, I will take a little black actually, because that's really a deep, dark, beautiful purpley lavender kind of black. Pull that thing to a point. Boy, I got that thing down to like a knife edge, just because barely in a place or two, I just want to put a little dark right underneath the edge of our crashing wave. As that softens and dries, it will just feel like it's got that edge of depth there. Now, don't do the whole thing. Don't give away your secrets. Maybe this edge coming out this way is just a little darker, a little more defined. That's fine. Again, don't overdo. Don't overdo. Oh, I see something I want to do. Tiny little detail. I loved it the times I've seen Bob do this. Every now and then, he will come right underneath the beach side of some of these little waves that are creeping up the sand. And if you just carefully nub in quickly, a few places underneath the edge of that, it's just going to give it its own little depth and make it be a little bigger than what it appeared at first. It just make it stand out as its own little individual. And again, don't overdo this. Don't make them perfectly straight. And if you overdo any, just clean your brush and go gently back by it. Doesn't even have to be exact. And it'll just soften it down for you. Oh, I like what we got going there. I do. Cool. So we've done that. Let's do a little titanium white. What have I, golly, I wind up with brush after brush after brush. 2 brushes and a knife in my underneath the palette hand. That's too many. We've got a little titanium white. Let's grab a little bit of that cadmium yellow and white mix. And we're just gonna gently pull in a little more color on our sand here, because we're about to put in our landmass and our trees and call this baby done. We just need that to look a little bit sandier. So to do this quickly, I'm just gonna knock out the extra paint there. Blend this gently so it just takes off those sharp edges. That's all I'm doing. See how that just sort of helps it make it look a little wetter. Since we put that reflection in first, it just looks like some water there. All right, well, I've shielded you as long as I can. I've got to give you a bravery test. I'm going straight into that midnight black with my fan brush, had that dark lavender color on it. We got to put in a couple of palm trees. Now, if there aren't palm trees at your beach, that's okay. I would encourage you to go for it. It's a bravery test. Just see what happens. Let's say our first palm tree, lives right there. Right there. Try to do that in one pass. You will pick up color as you go through there, so it's going to change the color of your tree. If you must, go back, do it quickly and once. Now be done. Please don't paint over it. No one will see a thing about that except for you. This tree needs a friend. Maybe this friend's a little taller. and that one just sort of curves off over here. Cool. We'll put some palm fronds there. If you can see that little stringer, I had a wild hair I didn't catch off the brush, and it just sort of drug through my yellow there. What I've seen, and I've certainly tried to do it before, is somebody try to fix that. Well, that little, I don't even know if you can see it. I hope you can, because I'm not going to try to fix it there. I mean, there's nothing to do. There's really, I mean, I would have to make the tree so much fatter and wider, it would just look ridiculous, and we're not going to do that. So we're going to take some dark sienna and our midnight black, and we are going to put in, oh, let's have our land come out to about here today. Started out there at the point, and now I'm working towards me. Out here at the point, working towards me. I just need some dark here on the ground. This is kind of a little peninsula of sand dune, kind of jutting out here a little bit. Don't worry about that. We're gonna cover that up with some ground cover and some water. We just need the dark so we can put in some highlight here in just a second. So we're going to take one of our awesome fan brushes, pick up a little bit of paint thinner, take a little bit of titanium white, some cadmium yellow, a little bit of blue. What happens when we put yellow and blue together? Not just true on a Ziploc bag, you get green. You don't have to know much about color mixing to have great success and fun with this painting method, and that one you probably knew before I told you. So I just have a pretty good load of a thinned out green color here. Just because on a beach like this, there'd probably be some succulents, some rough and tough grassy things growing. Just start out there on the point and just do a push up. Just push up and go with some speed. Don't do great details here and worry about all that. You got a different mix on your brush. You get a few different colors. That's going to be great. That's going to look great. You're going to love that. Let's do a little tiny bit of titanium white on our brush. Little tiny bit, I said. Just about the top third of the brush, touch the edge of your palm tree and just pull around. Barely touch and pull around. Don't go straight across. This is just going to help make our tree feel round, three-dimensional. Don't worry about it being all uniform. No one's going to notice that but you. It's one of those details that, feels so good when you get it. And if you go straight across, you're going to make it look like you got a 2x4 sticking up out of your beach. It's just kind of, just think about painting around the tree, around the tree, around the tree. And just practice that a couple times. All there is to it. All there is to it. Now on Bob's episode, I love it when he does this. He takes that script liner brush, some paint thinner, some of the midnight black, basically the color the tree went in with. So there's probably some dark sienna there. And this little tree's the further away, so he's like, okay, let's have some palm fronds come off this way. Oh, we'll have one come down that way. Let's have a little one go that way. Maybe there's one this way. And he's just showing you, you just got to put it in. Just go for it. It does not matter what you do here, because this is just giving you an idea to follow. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. And trees have all kinds of nasty stuff hanging down there in the middle. These trees live a tough life. Taking that same dark brush we put in the tree trunks with, a little more paint thinner. Oh wow, I've gone well past an hour. Sorry about that. I get to jibber drawing and having fun with these. Break my own rule of doing these fast. Not too much paint here, and I'm just deciding which of these palm fronds is furthest away, and just give it a little pull from that little cheater part I gave myself. Oh, let's have this one. This one can be next. Just give it a little pull, Let the fan brush do its magic for you. Let's put a little bit more on that. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I'm not using the whole fan brush, just part of it. I don't know if you can see that or not. Have some come across the trunk of your tree. That will pay you big dividends in just how it looks. Sets the tree in there. Let's have these guys be the furthest back on this side. And then this one. I can certainly have it go in front of that other tree, and then we'll have it, they're kind of just twisted together, aren't they? And this one, maybe we can see some coming off the other side too. So we'll just kind of have the other side of the palm frond there. Well, I kind of ran out of paint, mushed that a bit, so I'm going to beef that up just a smidge and just pull in a little more. There. Step back, take a look. Cool. Now I'm not going to do the step putting in the middle parts with the script liner for you this time. I'll show you a second way to do it. Load up that brush again with your dark color, and you can literally just touch in the middle of that tree, that palm frond, and then give it a pull. It's just a different way to do it. I love Bob's way that he showed us in the episode, because it should just give you confidence to go for it. And put yourself in a little cheat with the script liner brush, fine, but you don't need it. Good golly, just clunk in some paint there in the middle, give it a little pull down, a little wisp. There'd be broken things, there'd be all kinds of stuff going on in this tree if you wanted to go that crazy on detail. Now we just need to make a little lighter color to put some highlight on these. So, you know, a lot of palm fronds at the beach are green. So let's take some of our dirty brush. I just knocked out some of the color. I'm just lightening up the color that we put down, or dark, you know, kind of, softening it a bit with the dark that's already on the brush. I need a little more paint thinner, because this needs to be real thin. There it goes. So I just kind of have an ugly green here. I just want a few highlights, not too much, not too much. Just adds another little layer of flavor. You can't, please don't over repeat the pressure in your hand with this. That will be giving away our secrets. We don't want that. We don't want it. Well, we do give away our secrets. That's not really what I mean, but when you look at your tree in the future, you want to see all these variations of color. Oh, that'll make you happy. And if it's too bright, just go knock it down. Just barely touch it. Barely touch, barely touch. Barely touch. You don't want to destroy. You don't want to destroy. All right, let's tighten up this bottom and call this one done. So our trees are done, our beach is done. We really just need to sneak in here with a little bit of, let's put in a little sandy look. So we'll take some of that dark sienna we have left. We'll take a little bit of the titanium white and purple mix. That's fine. That'll give us a nice sandy look. So let's just kind of pull in a little bit of sandier feel to the base of this. Vary the heights on this. You don't want really any straight edges. Certainly don't need those. Just pulling in. We'll maybe touch in a little few grass blades there just to be sure. Let's take a little titanium white on our knife. Saw us in a water line here. It's almost like putting in another little wave action that we can just pull out. Have these little foamy thingies swimming around here on the front of our beach. If any of it's too bright, so delicately, just breeze over it. So we'll take our little highlight brush. Let's just kiss in over the edge of our sand insert there, a tiny little bit of straight edge interrupter. Don't do the whole thing, just a few. Just a few. I think we shall sign that one and call it done. So let's clean our script liner brush. Get a little bit of this bright red here on the bottom corner of my palette. I'm holding this kind of flat because I really slopped a lot of paint thinner on there. Got some running down my little tape. Oh no, I used the cheapo tape to hold my palette paper on my palette. This may be diving off on me here in a second. I just signed my D for Dan, W for Willcox. You don't have to sign it like this. You don't have to sign it in red. Play with your signature. Maybe you make a symbol that only you and a few special people know what it means, or it's something cool that you like. And I think that would be awesome. Let me step back, take a look at that. I've already signed it, so I won't paint any more on it. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that one overall. And really, that just looks like a little string hanging out of the tree now. I'm glad I didn't fight with it. So I hope you have a great rest of the day, the night, the whatever you may be doing right now. Let me see if I can just lower that a smidge. Creep in on it for kind of a finished look there. Thanks for checking out another episode of Progress Not Perfection. We'll see you again soon. I love you. Bye.